Yeah, well, those comic books back then is like an empty sandwich. You know what I mean? So it's more or less a pinup show.
Hey guys, welcome back to Show and Tell Comic Review. We got Daniel and Christian with as usual every week, and this week we are checking out Ninjaks. And I want to say though, you guys, I don't know if I told y'all this, but this right here is gold, and on the back is supposed to be this little white symbol. It's that symbol, but it's white on the back of the comic right here. This book would be worth $5,000 to $8,000. I don't know why, because I don't enjoy it. It's not a fun book.
For like no fucking reason, right? Because
just because that's gold. That's it. It's the same exact book, man. I checked it out online. The exact same book.
That's the one fucking cool thing about the book.
I don't know how it's good.
It's gonna show better than you get an idea.
Alright guys, so today's comic is, like Bob said, Ninjak. It was published by Valiant Comics. Part 1 was written by Mark Moretti, and the art was actually done by Joe Quesada. This is the second one we've done with the art done by Joe Quesada. I think he also had help by an artist called Jim Palmiotti. So basically, this revolves around Ninjak, who finds himself trapped in the middle of a bloody war between the Weaponeer and the insidious Dr. Silk. And so in this narrative, Ninjak must be able to foresee every contingency to survive the deadly gambit between these two guys. It seems that they play off of each other. That's roughly what this is about. So, Dan, take it away, man. Prepare the baseball bat.
Fuck, man. I didn't like this one. I think everybody could have probably guessed that. The art was done good. Like, it was done well, but it was like so fucking old, the same old shit. Like, it was every comic ever in 1994. It didn't feel any different. Okay.
According to Alfred, who we were just speaking to before the show, guys, Alfred Page, he's the creator of Page One Comics and Blowtorch, a book we really love on the show. But we were talking to him, and according to him, Aliens comic or something like that bought them out. And I read this and I didn't like it. And when I heard Alfred talking about it before the show, he liked it because he used to read it as when he was younger in the 90s, and he appreciated it for the time that it was. And it kind of makes me feel like I lost out on something because I'm reading it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was meant for that time, and our minds were set in that time. We're now, in this later age, and we're older, but even just for the times, it's hard to go back to the 90s and appreciate comics that are written the way they were written, like we were talking about before, how the Marvel method,
Right.
So it's hard to appreciate it, but he was from that era reading it when I quit, and he appreciated it, so we wish we could have had him on for that different perspective that he has.
Compare the Neo Spider-Man to the 1990s Ninjak.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible, and I say that with no hesitation. Like, I was just telling them that I feel like it was a mistake to read Spider-Man Noir first and then read Ninjak.
Sure.
You mean you saying Ninjak was terrible?
Compared to Spider-Man Noir, yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah. Even Blowtorch, man. Blowtorch has got fucking heads and shoulders over
over Ninjak for sure, yeah.
Yeah, don't even compare, man.
Blowtorch is I write that recently, but Ninjak was the beginning of Valiant with Armor Lines. I forgot the name of the title. But this is the same stage as Image when they started out. But at one point they did the Death Mate Valiant Image crossover to bring popularity to the books. Yeah, well, you know, those comic books back then is like an empty sandwich. You know what I mean? So it's more or less a pinup show. It's more or less a artist, because most of these comic books that was coming out now it's backed by writers. You know what I mean? Everybody's a writer that gets a crew. Back then it was artists that wanted to do their own book. So the writing was secondary. Everything was a portfolio of their art style. You ever had Todd McFarlane, you had Jim Lee, you had Mark Silvestri, you had Valentino, you had the guys that did Valiant and Torek, and these guys is more established in the art style than the storyline. So the stories are always like limited. You know what I mean? Like the conversation wasn't kind of too realistic because it is filling in word balloons to pages that look cool. You know what I mean?
Just get credit for the story and everything. You know what I'm saying? They would have to set up the whole storyline from synopsises and shit. So
yeah, well, you know, they did this thing called the Marvel Way, but they didn't do a script. They did a plot, and this gave it to the artists. The artists that have to draw a plot into 22 pages, and then they will go back and fill in the word balloon. So a lot of times the word balloons didn't even fit, but it's just like we got to make a dialogue.
That's true. Actually, let me show you guys something. I'll be right back.
If you read Ninjak now, if you read that Ninjak now, it's going to be empty. You know what I mean? Because you look for now, because you read a book for the storyline and what grabs you in the storyline. Back then, you look at a book for like a portfolio. You didn't even read it. You just flip through it. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. It's interesting you mentioned the Marvel Way, because I remember when I was younger, I was, you know, an aspiring comic book artist, and this was one of the books that I read.
They tell you that it was not dialogue heavy. It was art.
It was
heavy.
all just it was all art based. Yeah, like they showed you just how to like do the art, and the writing was an afterthought.
I'll tell you,
So the guys that
in the library, man. I've checked out books just like that in the library when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Alfred?
Now I was saying that for that time period, especially when the new independents like Valiant, Dark Horse, and Image was started, they were the main thing was to compete with the artwork of Marvel and DC, not the storylines.
Right.
So how can we make this book as flashy as Batman? How can we make this book as flashy as Thor or Fantastic Four, which was big back then, or you know what I'm saying, something like that? Like we gotta make our characters stand out more than these characters. So when you get these characters books from then, like Ninjak, Ash, and everybody that tried to start the first run of independent comics, it's all about being flashy with the character to compete with the characters that are selling, to break out the circle of the characters that are selling, which is Marvel and DC.
That makes sense.
So, you know, like when I wrote back then, when I started writing back then, I was writing superheroes, and it's all about just like, you know, make 2 panels of a guy flying and pushing a plane up or asteroid, or you know what I'm saying. It wasn't story driven. It's more like, you know, like say Star Wars now, which is a CGI effect. It's just explosions. You know what I mean? The storyline don't make no sense, but it's just a bunch of explosions. Or Fast and Furious.
All
production.
Yeah.
It's just all stunts and CGI and explosions, but the storyline's stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I used to write comic books. It's like, you know, you got this guy like Superman. What can he do? You know what I'm saying? Punch a guy through a mountain, make the mountain explode. You know what I'm saying? Lift up cars and tanks. You know what I'm saying? So the dialogue became secondary because these guys.
So it made me kind of not question me not liking it, because I didn't like it. But did I miss out on something? You know, because I was talking to him about the that stupid ass pirate movie that I love, I have an affinity for it, and everybody else on Earth hates that fucking movie. You can only find it on YouTube. It took, hearing him talk about it for me to for that to click. That I kind of feel bad about bashing these things from the '90s because I wasn't there to appreciate it in the time it was meant to be appreciated. I could have said that in less time, I guess.
This is a very long-winded way.
that out.
Monday morning, write that, Bob.
No, I mean I'm with you guys on that one. The thing is, you guys saw I couldn't really, full disclosure, I couldn't finish the comic, and I didn't. Not even for the show. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, guys. The thing is, like the story itself was very poorly written. There was a lot of parts where I was just confused. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't tell who the main antagonist was. I couldn't tell anything. I honestly, I'm not even sure this Ninjak character is the main character, because it seems that everybody else is in this comic except the guy that this comic is about.
Speaking about who is he? Is he that fucking cat, the secret agent cat at the beginning? Did you miss that there was a cat that was fucking giving information and shit on a damn like decoder watch and shit? There's a fucking black cat sneaking around who's like, oh, go ahead and update the file on Pierre. He's terminated. That's the fucking cat doing all that.
You're saying
the cat's the one doing
cat
that?
Like an actual cat, and not this dude who you're referring to as a cat.
Yeah, no, I don't mean like cool cat. Drive turkey. No, I mean like
because I thought the cat was like a monkey wrench.
Yeah, that was just off screen. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, if the cat. Okay, now I'm like thoroughly
any of the
confused.
panels. No. Any of the panels that have this mosaic art in it is showing that he's either in it or around.
You mean the panels that look like tarot cards?
Yeah, those panels. Yeah. He's either in it or he's sneaking around listening and is about to, he's somewhere around.
Mystical, magical feel to that scene. Right. There was some creative things. That's the thing. Is like there was some cool shit. Movement. It didn't really tell you. You gotta really guess and dig deep on shit.
I don't know. The thing is, it was way too ambiguous. I couldn't pick up on a lot of cues. So I was just overall lost. I didn't know who the main character was. I didn't know who the main antagonist was. So I really had no idea what was going on. For a second, I thought it was this one hot chick that was like seducing rich men, but then she gets blown to hell. And then after that, I'm just kind of like, all right, well, I just lost my one reason to read the comic. So I don't know. I really had to muscle my way through it. Really, what was keeping me going was the art. So I had to like pull a Bob on this one and say the story sucked, but the art was awesome.
I will say you did miss a little bit at the end when Dr. Silk came out. It got a little interesting. Dude was pretty fucking wicked. Like, he was an evil motherfucker. And there was cool close-ups on him and shit. Like, they did good with some art, but again, like most of it just felt like a Superman book.
I don't know. It's just, this one also had a feel of like lazy writing, especially how you could tell like with some of these parts, again, they were frivolous, like they weren't necessary, but they were there.
This whole hall that he goes into, I didn't like, I don't know if you knew it, but there was like announcements going on, like there's this whole what are they, consortium or some shit going on. I couldn't follow it. The only thing I really liked about it was the movement of the sword, how they used that mosaic. Here I go again, drinking again. The mosaic method that they were using in the panels to, for his sword flow when he was cutting motherfuckers up. I did enjoy that. That's probably my most enjoyable.
He lopped his fucking hands off and shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. The visuals of the comic is really what had me, and it's what kept me skimming through the comic. But I did toward the end just skim through the comic and look at the art, because I will say this: as far as the art goes, the visual storytelling wasn't great compared to like we just reviewed Spider-Man Noir, where it was clean, the focus was there. There were a lot of parts here where I was like, okay, wait, hold on, which panel comes first, and I had to do a whole lot of figuring out. So like, to me, the visual storytelling was very choppy, but the overall art in each panel, the use of colors was actually very cool. They did good setting tones and moods and things like that. And the shading was actually really cool. I mean, there were some panels that were, the way they were rendered, if you kind of squint your eye, they look very realistic. Which I thought, it was very well rendered. Like I know page 23, the third panel, is like long across the page there. I like the way that guy was rendered there. It was pretty realistic. But before that, the one that stood out to me, it was a very simple panel. But in page 17, the bottom panel, you got this guy like looking sideways, and the light is coming from below him, and just the way they rendered his face was beautiful. But on the same page, I was just kind of like, wait, hold on, which panel comes first? Or like who's talking and what's going on? Like it was very cluttered and disorganized.
There's a lot of back and forth and looking around on a page for sure, trying to figure out where to start. It didn't have very much flow at all. It was just overall boring though. Like even with it being really nice to look at, it was still just I pushed to get through it. It's like fucking finally. Dang. But again, that towards the end, it grabbed me back for a second, just because the art was better than it was for the rest of the book. With Dr. Silk, the dude in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
He was done pretty cool. They made him.
I'm not gonna lie though, I'm looking at Dr. Silk, and you know who he reminds me of? Did you guys ever watch SpongeBob when they're selling that episode where they're selling chocolates?
Chocolate.
Yeah. What are they selling?
I think it's Ninjak, man.
That sucked.
So Thursday we're doing Wildcats on Image. That'll be our Image Thursday. Yeah, hopefully we'll get Alfred in here for that one. He's supposed to be here for that one next week, you guys. And that is Ninjak, man. We're done with that motherfucker. So we'll see you guys Thursday.
Thursday. We're gonna see you Thursday now. Y'all come back, you hear?
Wake me up before you go. Take me dancing tonight.